Welcome to Inside Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm your host, Devon Jones. Today on our show, we have filmmaker Noel Brady. Noel, welcome to the show.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. So you have a bunch of projects that I'm super excited to hear about. And also, we had a quick chat before this about some of stories that you're willing to share, and I'm looking forward to hearing those as well. But before we jump into those stories and your films, let's talk about Noel as a filmmaker. Who or what inspired you to become a filmmaker?
Well, me, like probably half the people working in the industry, if not a lot more, a movie called Star Wars. Mr. George Lucas was the first big inspiration for me to get into this whole crazy world of filmmaking. And I'm talking I'm that old, back in 77 when the first Star Wars movie came out. I would have been a kid, maybe 8 years old or not even that. And I can always remember going down the street, one of my streets in town, and there was a camera shop, and in the window there was what was Super 8, a Super 8 reel of Star Wars. Back in those days, you could get that. There was no VHS even, not barely. And then in front of that was a Cine Cam, a Super 8 Cine Cam. And I had this idea, if I can get that camera, I can make my own Star Wars. And that's where it started right there. That was the first idea, the first notion I had. And I never did get the cine camera. I got one years on, but I ended up getting a video 8 camera, and we shot a lot of foolish stuff with my friends, forced perspective, trying to remake Jurassic Park and all these movies with my friends for the longest time, and then I decided to get more real about it and went to college. And I guess in college, that's when I started to learn a bit more about film, how to tell a story, what we call semiotics. So I use the semiotics, vision and sound, this whole story. I love that stuff. And I came more critical in watching movies, and I teach classes now on that myself. Because when you learn the vocabulary, when you learn the language, because film is a language, and when you learn the language, that's what makes you a good filmmaker, I think. It's not just talking heads, people talking back and forth. People are lying all the time, so we're looking to see beyond what they're saying, and that comes across in the filmmaking. That even with the camera, I mean, like using Star Wars as a reference, Darth Vader is the bad guy, so the camera's looking up at him, it's always down low. Until he meets the Emperor, now the Emperor is more bad than he is, so the camera's looking down on Darth Vader and look at the Emperor. So there isn't arbitrary where a camera goes. So that's the sort of stuff you start to learn in college, I guess. And I thankfully have done pretty okay. My shot choices and so forth, and editing and all that. Yeah, so that's where it all began, Star Wars, like many, many others. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So would you say college was the first time you made a film, like or was it prior to that?
I never got to direct in college, funnily enough, ironically enough. I wouldn't have been Mr. Popular in school. I wasn't unpopular, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't have been the cool dude in the class that gets to direct this stuff. That's kind of how it worked a bit. And that's normal. That's the way it goes. But it didn't really bother me because I knew when I'd get out, I'd want to do my own thing anyway. But I learned editing, I learned camera work, I learned, but blocking, I learned about where a camera goes, like I said, semiotics. And I'd done writing because I did acting before that. And that was what it calls theater studies. And during the year when I was doing that, that was my first started writing, and we had a script writing class, and I wrote a script called Trust, and we put it on as a live play then. And it's funny how many, many, many years on, and Devon, I made it into a short film, and I've rewritten that script so many times. And it's funny, people come up to me, "Is this a movie, Mel? Is this a?" "Oh, I wrote that." "You wrote that, really?" "Yeah." So that's lovely, those things happen. But yeah, and again, anyone who wants to direct, especially, never mind camera, if you want to direct, act. I'm telling you, if you want to direct, because you could have like a $100,000 camera, you shit acting in front of it, you don't have to get the best from your actor. it doesn't matter how great your camera is, what's in front of the camera. And I would say that any aspiring directors, especially, go out and act, even if it makes you feel really uncomfortable, you'll appreciate what those guys and girls are trying to do in front of the camera, and you'll be able to talk to them so much more. And I don't know about in the States, but here in Ireland, that's one of the things seems to be missing quite a bit from film schools is actually directing, a class on directing and working with actors. It's great to be able to understand lenses and change lenses and all that, but you got to look after the people in front of the camera. They're the ones selling it. Even if it's out of focus, they're the ones selling it. Yeah. So yeah, that's for all. Yeah, back to Star Wars now, college. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So I like the setup that you had where you wrote the script and then you said it went into a play and then that play got made into a short film. Now, is that the first project that you had that went in that route? And do you have another project that is in that same route? Do you see that to be some sort of a creative method that you can kind of use down the pipeline?
Uh,
Or was just that for that one time thing?
it was just that one time thing. We were doing script writing class, and the teacher would give you one word, and my word was trust. And so, okay, go away, write an 8-minute play about the word trust. Anything you like. That's what I did. And I wrote this short piece about two guys. One's a drug addict, and one's a drug runner. But he stopped doing that because he found God, and he's trying to get his brother clean. But the hypocrisy is that, like, you started me on this shit. It's your fault I'm bloody here. So that was the dynamic. And it's funny enough, I rewritten it again, and it's different now. But I'll be shooting that version of it very soon, actually, Devon. And I'll be sure to let you know because you'll see similarities. I'll be shooting that quite soon as part of the course I teach over here on acting. It's a showreel course I do. But no, the first proper short film I made was a silent movie called Movers and Shakers back in 2005. My God, it's 20 years ago now. Oh, I'm getting old. Yeah, 2005. It was a 5-minute short, black and white silent movie, very much in the field of Buster Keaton. And I remember talking to the guy I met, nice guy called Brian Steins, and he said, "No, I can make the screen tilt like a seesaw. Can we do anything with that?" He thought, "Okay." And so we just had two guys took a war, and every time they pull the one side, the screen would go up, pull the other side, spit. And it got in everywhere. It was probably, it never won any awards, but it got in everywhere. Really, because it was a benign, like a little puppy dog. Everybody loved it. It's not changing the world or trying to change the world. And it did really, really well. And then with a friend of mine did the whole piano playing thing underneath it as well. Kind of, again, like you find in vaudeville, the guy in the pit playing the piano, and he made the piano slightly out of tune and stuff like that. Yeah, so that was my first short back in 2005. Movers and Shakers. Yeah, so back on this is a 4 HD. We're shooting on standard, actually. SD. We're shooting on the Canon XL1 camera and editing on Final Cut Pro 7 at the time. Yeah, so it's a long time. A lot of editing since then.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that was the first short. Yeah.
Awesome.
There's been a few since then. I'm not sure how many. I've lost count.
All right, so now let's jump into this project right here that you have called Coffee. How did you come up with the concept with that, and how is that project doing?
Well, I didn't come up with a concept. I over here in Ireland, I run a showreel course by actors because I teach acting over the Gage School here in Ireland. Colin Farrell went there, by the way, folks, not for nothing. So I'll tell you my Colin Farrell story if you want later. But I teach acting there, and I do my own stuff outside of the school. This isn't part of the school. I run my own course, and because actors oftentimes they have to have a showreel, a succession of clips demonstrating their acting ability, and they either can't get good stuff or they get stuff that isn't made well. So I have the course where you come along and you'll be in two original scenes. I write one and you write the second one. And that particular short film, as it turned into, Coffee, the Stephanie and Ahmed, who are in it, they wrote that scene. Um, there's a process in my class I take my students through where they write their own scene. And, it's funny. I've had people go, no, I can't even write a shop beat list. How can I write a script? Do you know what I mean? I'm terrible at this. I'm telling you, every time, it's a way it kind of tricked them into writing that I do. There's a process. And yeah, they came up with this lovely little story about two very disparate people finding one another in a moment and just finding heart and finding warmth where you think there's nothing left. And that's what they came up with. And yeah, it was all those guys. I give a little bit of input, maybe kind of knock some of the hard edges off, maybe round it off a little bit. But no, in this instance, Stephanie Bean and Ahmed Polat are the writers of this particular one. I directed it and shot it and cut it and stuff, but it's all down to those guys. And Ahmed, actually, fair play to him. This was his first IMDb credit, right? And I sent him that, hey, you're on my IMDb. And within a half hour, he'd all his headshots up and his CV. That guy's on it. So that was great. And it's just lovely people. It's new to them, so they're really excited. And I feed off of that. I love that. I love to see people, kind of be a kid again. Really, I think we lose our, especially with acting, we'll lose that innocence, that idea of playing. We stop playing. And what we're doing when we're making movies and we're acting and directing, we're playing, seriously, but we're playing. And people, it's just lovely to see people get excited and find whole different thing and surprise themselves. So yeah, coffee was, so it's on my Instagram page, folks, if you want to see it.
All right, and we'll get the link to that as well in the description. All right, so now let's talk about this next one, The Carer.
Carer, okay. Well, The Carer, I didn't write that one again. You'll still ask me if something. The Carer was a friend of mine, Mario McEntee. He's not Italian though. The name is Mike. He's from Northern Ireland. And this is a very personal story for Mario, because he was a carer for his mother towards the end of her life. And he wrote this story about a character who's a carer for his mother, and his mother passes away. And he befriends his mother's friend, and she becomes ill. He looks after her as well. And that was, I think, this year. Was it this year? Earlier this year, it was in Chicago, in the Chicago Art Film Festival, which is a really prestigious film festival to get into. So Mario went over to it. I couldn't go over. I was working. Would love to go, but yeah. So he wrote that, and he came along to me. Noel, would you direct this? And I said, yeah, sure. I'll direct it. I'll give it a shot. And then yeah, and but it's the thing. Here's the thing, right? It's not the script when you work with other people. It's like, well, the way I put it, a short film is like, a relationship for a year or two, maybe. Feature film, you're getting married. It's a big, so you want to have the right people. You're going to spend so much time with these people. So Mario and I got on very well. And yeah, so that was one that came along that was really, really, really good to do, got some nice shots. And helped a bit with the script. Again, just kind of knock some of the edges off maybe. But no, it was all Mario. So yeah, I think that will be online pretty soon, because that's that particular short, Mario, and he's correct, didn't want to put anywhere online what is doing the circuit, which is, the way to do it, folks. That's the way to do it. I'm not always doing that because I'm kind of getting old. I just want to share this shit with people. I just want people to see it, have fun. But no, so that one will be, yeah, coming up soon. So, I'll let you know when it's there. I was only talking to him last week. So we think it's done his little life of 2 years or so in the circuit. So yeah, that'll be up soon.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. Love to hear that. And also I'll piggyback real quick. Yeah, for the listeners out there, when you have a film, and you submit it to film festivals, it's highly recommended that if you do have it on some platforms other than that film festivals platform, you have it on private and have a password, because what those film festivals want is to be the first to screen your film. It's not that they don't want you to share with everyone. They just want that to be able to be that screen that shows your film for the first time, which it goes as a premiere, a world premiere for them. So a premiere is a big deal, and it's not going to hurt your film by putting it on private and having a password for a little while. If anything, it's going to help your film because these festivals, they will look around, and if they see that is available, then they don't have a premiere. And yeah, your film is good, but they wanted the premiere. So give your film that little extra boost if you can. All right. So let's jump back into it. All right. So speaking of acting, you have this intensive acting show reel that you go through. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Well, that's where Coffee came from. Because Coffee didn't set out to be a short film. Coffee set out to be a scene that both actors wrote themselves, and the idea is they're creating content for the showreel, hence intensive acting showreel course. So in this instance, I'm kind of piggybacking on their piggybacking. That's why that particular short Coffee ended up being a short film, got out into the world on YouTube and stuff and Instagram because the actors want to show themselves doing their due, and that makes total sense. But I just had it had a shape to it and a message, and it worked as a short film. And the intensive acting showreel course is for actors who, like I said a few minutes ago, you've done the courses, you've got your chops down, you can deliver, but maybe you're just not getting a part with meat on it. You're not getting something that really show what you can do. You're the spear holder in the back. You know what I mean? Oh, my hand went up. There you go. But so with my course, the guys and girls get a chance to, number one, be in a scene that I write, and the second scene they write themselves. So two original pieces. And if they're good, they can go on and have a little life to a short film like Coffee did. It's not meant to be that at all. It's really just produce good content for showreels. Yeah. So it's going nearly a year in September. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I love teaching people. I love to see people get excited and you know eh, to see that kind of that glint in their eyes. Wow, I didn't think I could do that. They're going, oh, maybe I can. Pretty cool.
Hey, you got it. So Noel, where can people find your classes at? Where can they take some of your courses?
Well, if you go to phoenixartsmedia.com, and Phoenix Arts is spelled ARTZ, Z for Zorld. Thanks for the plug there. phoenixartsmedia.com, and you click on that and you go to courses. And all you people in the States, I'm sorry, I'm not over there, fortunately. But if you're in Ireland and in Dublin, or especially, next one's starting up in September. And I keep the class very small because with a small class, you get more time one-on-one. If the class is too big as a teacher, it's kind of hard to really, you need one-on-one time with me, say, so like there's 20 odd people in the class. In the 3-hour class, that works out about 7 minutes each. So it's not going to work, So I keep the class very small, maybe 8 people or something like that, Yeah. So yeah, that's it. September, intensive acting showreel course. Do it if you're there.
Awesome. I love it. And if we can get that link, we'll get that link so you guys can click on it. It'll be in the description as well. And just want to give a shout out to our audience that we do have in Ireland. We've been some of our guests who's been on the show is from Dublin as well. So we have some guests, some listeners out there. So we want to shout out those Ireland listeners out there. Keep on listening. Keep creating. That's our goal here, to inspire the next generation of filmmakers, creators, and entrepreneurs. All right, Noel, we're at that part of the episode where I ask this question to all the guests. What is a book, a TV show, or a film that you recommend to an aspiring filmmaker?
Oh, hang on. Hold that thought. Man Who Heard Voices, M. Night Shyamalan. This is all about the lady in the water. Some people think it's the worst movie ever. That's okay. But it gives you a really, really honest account of what it's like to be a director, writer, producer, and make it a film. And even though that wouldn't be a low budget movie, it's very real, very heartfelt. That one book. There's other books around, but yeah, if there's a movie that you love, if there's a movie you love, find the makings of book, find out everything you can about that movie, because then you say, oh, that's the story I want to tell. That's the sort of director I want to be, and you'll see what they went through. And the DVD special features can be cool now, but they're getting worse over the years. But years ago, they were really good, especially Peter Jackson's ones. Awesome. Sometimes the special features are just like a glorified promo for the film that you've already bought the bloody DVD or Blu-ray or download already. You don't need the promo. You know you like it. But Peter Jackson. Oh yeah, his book is somewhere. I can't find it. But his book is awesome too. Peter Jackson. Yeah, I can't think of the name of it. But yeah, awesome book. Very big book, 300 pages. But that was a very good one. Almost the second question.
It was a book, a TV show, or a film.
Oh, so I picked a book. There you go.
Yeah, you gave us a TV show, Star Wars, Star Trek. Star Wars is film earlier, and then Star Trek. And,
TV show. We have to come up to the present. Some really great shows out now. Last of Us, awesome. Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Mindhunter, amazing. Oh, Queen's Gambit, blown away by Queen's Gambit on Netflix. The music, the cinematography, just crazy, crazy good stuff. Crazy good acting all around. And I wish the movies were as good as that nowadays. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff for you guys if you want to check it out. Hey, to you, Mom, wait.
Awesome. I love it. No, thanks for sharing all of that. And everyone, thanks for listening to today's episode. That was Noel Brady, filmmaker. We're going to have those links in the description. Remember, keep in contact and keep connecting and keep creating. All right. If you love today's episode, don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, Inside Plug with 2Gs. We're here every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Remember, keep creating and stay inspired. Noel, thank you again for joining us today.
No worries, Devin. Be nice chatting to you.
Awesome. Same here. Nice chatting with you. Awesome. Inside Plug, signing out.